experience.
So Daron, it's good to have you back again for our 7th episode. And really exciting for today's conversation. One of the things that we get to do today is last episode, Daron, you kind of asked more questions of me. This time I think I get to ask more of you. And what's really cool is just seeing how you and I have been able to share our knowledge from different perspectives, but really hopefully people in the audience can glean from what we've learned. We're just looking back at some of our episodes that we've already touched on. It was really neat to really dig into a lot of the things around marketing and even talking about how the front door of your club is no longer the physical front door, it's the website. And then talking with Jeff Dyer about how are you getting smart about how you're marketing, how are you focusing your spend, how are you using technology to really allow you to target the right people at the right time. And Nick coming in and really saying, well, this is what good digital agency is. Even for me, I get excited, about salespeople, but it's funny, while I'm excited, Daron, about salespeople, I oftentimes get more excited about the tools that support them. And I think the unique part of that is where those things converge, and it's really neat to join this up. And so I'm looking forward to today. What are your thoughts initially?
Yeah, Nick. Well, as always, it's really good to sort of get back together, and our schedules are obviously incredibly busy, but this is just a favorite time because, as we talk about this, when we sort of do a little prep for this, and this is an opportunity for us to sort of just like take a breath, relax just a little bit, and then hopefully bring some value and even if it's just one golden nugget or two that somebody can take and make a difference in their clubs, which are going to impact people's lives for the better, which is really, you got to keep the first things first, right? That's really what we're about. So I'm excited about it today. And I was actually really excited when the team let us know that one of our recent podcasts, I think, had like 6,000 views or something. So that was pretty exciting.
Yeah.
I'm excited about today.
Well, no, and Daron, I think one of the cool things is it's timely. So as we think about our industry and the conversations you and I have been having with different clubs across the country, everybody's mind is on January joins. And hopefully January 2023 happens to be one of those surges that we've seen in prior years. And so one of the cool things is I would really love to just dive in with you real quick, Daron, is to say, hey, so we've got tons of leads that we've generated, and you're doing all that marketing planning right now if you're a club owner with that anticipated January join. And then all of a sudden you have all these anticipation of people that are going to want to join. So guess what? They showed up at your club and you're like, oh boy, now what? And we've talked a little bit about getting the right team, setting that up for success. But what about tools? Like or systems, how do you set those up, Daron, to really effectively convert those members?
So great question. And I'll just go back to one thing you said right at the beginning. You definitely need to set your team up for success, not only with tools, but certainly with training.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I love about setting up automations for your sales team is that if you do it properly, all of those systems and automations actually become a training tool. So I don't know, Nick, if you remember way back in the day, we used to have like the triplicate sales forms, right? So everybody you would write down and then you would peel one off, and then on the back of one of those triplicates it said day 1 call, day 2 call, day 3, day 5, right? And so you had your follow-up agenda, if you will, but it was still very manual. All right. Well, what we've done today is we've automated that entire process, not only for the salespeople, but also for the management team, so that there's total accountability and total visibility to the entire system. And it starts right out of the gate with ensuring that a prospect who's interested gets a phone call, gets connected within 60 seconds. We actually did some research with a company called Velocify. And it actually showed that you can get as much as a 400% increase in your web lead conversion rate if you contact that hot lead for the reason they reached out to you within 60 seconds, right? So that's the very first thing that happens. And then instantaneously, you're going to get emails that go out appropriate to the source that they came in from, a text message as well. The salesperson's also going to get alerted immediately to this process and exactly where it is. And then the automations just completely funnel all the way through all these different tracks so that as soon as the salesperson schedules that first appointment to come in and check out the club, automatically get flipped off the web lead interest track, if you will, automatically put onto an appointment confirmation. As soon as they show up in the club, they, touch the guest register. All of a sudden, automations kick in. No longer are they there. Now it's waiting, and you're going to either have a be back. You're going to have a new member. It's going to kick them onto the new member welcome. And so every single automation is fully pre-choreographed at every single touch along that prospect life cycle.
Well, and what's cool, Daron, is I think oftentimes the more smooth you make that entrance into the club and the entrance into the digital side of things, the more likely they are to convert. If it's so easy and it's almost like they are lulled into this idea of, well, why wouldn't I be a member? The more friction points that you have in your process, and that creates a point where they're just going to opt out or say, give you every objection in the book. I'm going to talk to the family member, whatever. And we were so I guess the reality is we know and we'd be excited about most of these turning into a sale right out of the gate. Well, let's say that they didn't. Let's say that they didn't, Daron. I mean, let's say that they decided, I'm going to go talk to my spouse. I'm going to go, think about it. What do you do?
Yeah, you know what, Nick? Right before I jump into that, I'm going to go back to something you just said that I think is really, really, really key. So people get distracted, right?
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons why if someone fills out a web lead form or if someone fills out something on social media, you need to be in contact within 60 seconds because literally it may be 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and their kids have them doing something,
That's right.
their significant other,
Right.
and then they're moving on to the next thing. They're interested, right? So you got to
Or they could be
strike.
in the middle of signing up at another club at the same time. See who hits them back first, right?
You've got to strike, right away. But to your point, let's say that everything's working. They come in the club, right? All the automations are working. All things are go. Person doesn't join. Well,
Right.
again, automation continues. Now they are on a missed guest track instantaneously, and you're doing the follow-up. It's all very timely. Phone calls, text messages, emails, all choreographed to make sure that they're getting connected, right? So, all right, first visit close didn't happen. So now what? All right. Number one, when in the busy season, you have to have automation because you don't have enough time to sometimes even decipher, oh man, I forgot I had 12 tours today. Was it Nick or was it John? Who? Oh, where am I? No, automation kicks in, and then you are absolutely not going to let anything skip. Nothing's going to fall through the cracks, right? And so one of the things that we're trying to teach is based on where they came from, like maybe it's a 3-day guest pass or a 7-day guest pass, then all those automations should be driving these prospects to that joining decision.
That's right.
So that you can compress the number of days for the be back close to happen. Because Nick, let me just say, I'm going to ask you, you've been managing salespeople for a long time.
That's right.
If you have so many leads that are coming in, right, and then you're getting, say, just call it 50% of them are first visit closes, and you got 12, 15 tours in a day, and then all of a sudden, you got, obviously you got 6 or 7 that didn't join, but then tomorrow comes, it's a whole new day, I'm going to get 50% closes. How much are you following up with all the be-backs right away?
Well, the challenge is you're not. And the funny thing is, it's like also you have turnover of staff, you have part-time staff, hourly staff. Maybe it's somebody else that needs to pick up the ball. Like the reality is here, Daron, at these clubs right now, we know across the country, they're going to do whatever it takes. But the reality is you need a system to hand that off. And if you're dependent upon people to remember a sticky note or whatever, or even a system that's not fully built out and thought through, you're going to end up not being able to really get that happening. One of the things you mentioned, Darren, I'd love you, like if you were to say a club group, let's say that they have a CRM today, but they're really saying, man, that sounds amazing, Darren. I would love that. Like, what are some basic things that you could implement right out of the gate that could really start to hone that process going into your January join season?
So, one of the things that I would say is we've actually built out for, I think it's 7 or 8 different business models within the industry, a tried and true essentials communications track cadence.
Okay.
And we've been tweaking this, Nick, now for over the last 5 or 6 years. A/B testing, what works, what gets the best response rate, when do we do the sandwich, right? And you know what the sandwich is, we've talked about it before.
Yeah.
Text message, hey, this is who it is, phone call followed by a text message, so you get a higher response rate.
I actually do that sometimes with even people that I know won't recognize my number. Send them a quick text and say, hey, this is Nick, I'm about to call you, you have a second. That is so powerful.
Right. And so we have actually built all of these things into our different tracks to get the highest rates, because one of the things that we've found working with so many different clubs, if you get say a 50% close rate on first visit,
yeah,
then you've got another 50% that you got to somehow get out. There are a lot of people, a lot of clubs that actually get as much as a 30% or more close rates after 60 days.
Oh, wow.
And guess what? Most salespeople are going to be bored, tired. They're going to give up. There's lower hanging fruit, right? But that is actually, you know what? We can't blame them. They're accurate. That's truth. There is lower hanging fruit. Thus, the absolute requirement for automation and nurturing over a long period of time, because we have to meet people where they are in the life cycle of readiness to join and start exercising. Because that's a real key. There's so much research around readiness to begin that process for that healthy lifestyle. And so without automated cadences, you're going to miss a significant portion of your sales.
And I would say, Darren, it's almost emotional. So sometimes you have to capture people in that moment of emotion. It isn't 1, 2, 3 reach outs. It could be 13, 14, 15, 20 reach outs. And it's really important. One of the cool things is not seeing a lot of opt-outs is one thing that we've done. I know you've worked on that a lot. Having that 6 years of experience to really work through that track so that you're not getting people opting out of the process, but you're actually keeping them engaged in the process. And that's so exciting, when you dig into it. One of the things, just to wrap us up, Darren, and I know that we could talk about this subject forever. And like, again, as we've always said, if anybody ever wanted to talk to us directly, just ping a note within the social media channels, reach out to us directly via LinkedIn and other tools. But when you think of the experience, and this is our series, and when you think about this particular topic, how do you define the experience as it relates to this topic today?
Oh man, that's a good question. And I'm going to say one thing right before I answer that, and that is, you talked about deliverability. We actually have a customer that we really partner with our customers, and one of our customers, we're getting over a 99% delivery rate, 99.7 actually, on emails, open rates that are approaching 20%.
Wow.
Click-through rates that are over 5%. And so I think it goes to that partner mentality. Yeah. And so that leads me into what really makes me go and what I envision as the overall experience. And Nick, the experience is, we all in this industry want to help people live healthier and happier lives. And my personal belief is that clubs need dedicated, legitimate, committed partners to help build the systems together. So I've said for pretty much my entire career that, hello, Mr. Club Owner, Mr. Operator, look, this is Darren, VFP. What you're going to get here is you're going to get somebody, a partner that's going to roll up their sleeves to make a difference in your business so that the overall experience is as streamlined and smooth, frictionless as possible for your staff, for your management, ownership, and then ultimately for your leads and members. And so to me, that's this full circle experience of what we're striving to accomplish for every partner club that we work with.
No, that's awesome. I appreciate you pulling that back to the purpose, of why we're all here. And, as we think about continuing this podcast, Daron, there's so many areas that we can tap into. And I think in the future, what would be cool is, we spend so much time talking about the acquisition and the membership, gaining the membership and getting them engaged, but it's taking that step further. It's great that they join the club. How do you get them more entrenched in the programming and all these other things, which I think is even the more exciting part, because that's really when they're realizing the opportunity to change their life through fitness and through doing different changes in their lifestyle. And so it's pretty exciting to watch. Well, Daron, thank you again for today. This is exciting to wrap up episode 7. Look forward to episode 8, where we continue our journey of really understanding how do we make this industry grow and thrive in 2023. And so on that, we'll wrap it up. Have a great day.
Thanks. Great to see you, man. Take care. Thank you for joining us for the experience. Check back next time for another episode on how to take your club to the next level. For more content and to stay up to date with the experience, follow Club Automation, VFPNext, and MotionSoft on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram. We'll see you next time.